Hey guys, Steve Welch here with Beaman Toyota in Nashville. So I want to talk to you guys about something that actually is kind of important if you really think about it. So you go to a dealership, you go to somebody's house, whatever you do, you buy a new or new to you vehicle, right? So that's something that's, you know, new or new to you, just something you're not used to. You get ready to go and you drive off, and then a lot of times you end up doing things while you're driving. Oh, I forgot to set this, I forgot to do that. And you're trying to do stuff while you're driving. Well, there's a few things that you should really set up and check on before you leave the dealership parking lot, the person's driveway, whatever, that you should do and check on your new car. So I'm going to go over some of those things just to give you an idea of what you should check on before you drive off with your new or new to you vehicle, right? So I'm standing in front of a 4Runner here right now. This is a brand new 4Runner. I'm gonna show you some things on this to just kind of give you an idea. So, but the first things first, right? If you got keys, right? Whether it's a fob, whether it's something like that, make sure you get all the keys to the vehicle. So if there's 2 keys, get 2 keys. If there's 1, obviously sometimes there's 1. Something like a Tacoma. A Tacoma will have a tailgate key plus your 2 fobs. Sometimes the Tacomas are coming with a credit card key. Just make sure you get all the keys, and then make sure that they work. You know, hit your button and go, all right, well, this one works, and then grab your second one, hit the button on your second one, make sure that they both work. Had a few times where, like, you sell somebody a used car, and obviously you can get in the car, you grab the door handle, this will unlock the car just by grabbing the door handle on that, and you find out that the second key battery is dead, right? Well, I'd want to address that for a customer. I actually keep key batteries in my desk just to make sure that if there is one that's dead, I can address that for a customer, because sometimes people will have a car for a few years, the key fob battery will have died in the one that's just kept in their drawer. They never think about changing it. They just go, they get you one that's brand new, never been used. They don't think that the key battery's bad. So make sure you got both keys and that they work. So the next thing I'll tell you is go to wherever your headlights turn on, look for the word auto. Turn that to auto. Sometimes they're down here like on a Chevy or something like that, but turn your headlights to auto. A lot of people are getting out of vehicles that are a little bit older. Maybe they had driving lights in them that were very, very dim, something like that, and they're not really, you know, they couldn't have lit up the road in front of you, so you'd know if your headlights were off. New cars now, especially some of these luxury cars, they got several LEDs that are on them. They've got you know, a lot of stuff on them that realistically your driving lights are better than the headlights in your old car in a lot of cases. So if the driving lights are on just from you being in gear, your tail lights are not on, parking lights are not on, nothing's on like that, but you can see in front of you. So before you leave in your new car, make sure that your headlights are actually on. And the other thing that you can do usually, and I'll go ahead and I'll turn this vehicle on just to show you, if you have the dash there, if you turn this on, you'll get, and I'll kind of try to show you over here. There's a little, I hit the horn. There's a little illuminator right there. That little symbol means that that's your headlights, that your headlights are on. So if I turn that back off, you'll see that your headlights are off. And then if you have it to where you have automatic high beams and you turn that on, you'll usually get something like this, which will give you a little A with that over there. But you'll get something like that. That means that your headlights are in automatic high beams as well. So like I said, just make sure that your headlights are going to function for you when you're driving at night. So a lot of times you see these new cars that are driving and you got somebody that's got a temp tag on the back and their headlights are off, and you know exactly what happened. So next, set your seat and mirror positions before you leave. So there's a lot of times that even on a test drive, somebody will start driving their car on a test drive, and then they'll go, oh, let me go ahead and start moving the seat and stuff like that. Now on some Toyotas, you might actually start moving the seat. You'll start hearing a beep, 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 and it means that the seat's not actually calibrated. And there's a way to calibrate. I've got a video on calibrating the seats, but if the seats are beeping, you'll notice that at that point. A lot of times you can get stuff like your steering wheel here. You'll have little settings that you can set. Set those kind of things before you leave. That way you know that they're in the position that you need to be comfortable. It doesn't mean that you can't, like, you know, tweak them as you're driving a little bit, but at least kind of get them close, so you're not sitting here trying to look at your passenger side mirror while you're driving down the road in your new car that you're really not all that familiar with at this point. So Next thing I want to talk about in this is, I'm going to say this very affectionately, secure your crap. Most people, when they trade in a car, they'll get a box, they'll get a bag, they'll get something that's got all the stuff that they haven't touched in years that's kind of filtered its way into their vehicle. They got all that stuff and they'll set it on their passenger seat. They'll set it on their back seat, something like that. So you're driving home, you got all that stuff. You don't want to trash up your nice new car. So you got all that stuff sitting in a bag on your driver's seat, and then you got to hit the brakes real hard, and you start worrying about that stuff more than even what you're hitting the brakes on. So you're trying to hold the, you don't want to trash up your car. Well, instead you might have a bigger issue, right? So put it on the floor, belt it in, leave it at home. You know, if you plan on trading your car, and maybe clean it out a little bit before you get there so you don't have a whole lot of stuff, but definitely you want to secure your things, and that's another item there that you want to do. The other thing is that your floor mats. Now the floor mats are in a box in the back of these new cars, but what you'll see is you have these little things here that'll end up securing your floor mats. So a lot of times they're on the driver's side, on the passenger side, but especially on the driver's side, you want to make sure that those clips are engaging the mat, and that mat is secured. Reason being, you don't want the mats to bunch up or something like that, or get underneath the pedal. Now if you're buying something like a used car and say maybe the mat's not all that great and it looks kind of bad, take the mat out, get yourself some new mats if you plan on getting the mats. But if there's something that could interfere with you hitting the pedals or something like that, you definitely want to make sure that that's out of the way. The other thing is, a lot of times you'll get these little placemats that us as well, we'll put those in there just to kind of keep our footprints off of them when we're bringing them up. A lot of times people like to keep those in there, realize those can be slippery, stuff like that. They're just kind of meant to keep the dirt off so your car stays as clean as possible before you drive it off. Realistically, you should probably remove that floor mat, that little placemat, before you take off in your car. All right. So one of the next things that you want to do is you want to realize how your wipers and other controls work. So obviously we already talked about your headlights, but what about something like setting your cruise control? Maybe you don't do that on the way home, right? But maybe you do, but you want to look. So a lot of times your wipers are over here. I've seen some cars and stuff like that, and some, I mean, more and more things are going to where it's going to be in your head unit and stuff. Who knows exactly where it's at on the car that you're buying? Like I said, most Toyotas, it's right here. And every once in a while you'll see something that says auto on here. So know where the switch is, know how to set it, know what the things mean. If you got something like a rear wiper, you know, obviously right here you can actually turn on the rear wiper on this one. You can wash it by pushing it forward, pull it back to wash the front. That one washes the back to push it forward. But you definitely want to know where all your controls are, at least the ones that you're gonna need to drive. The other thing that I'll point out too is that if you look here, so the other thing you want to know is, what about your air conditioner controls, right? You want to know, do you have an auto? If you hit an auto here, what does it do? If you're trying to change the, you know, the fan speed, stuff like that, how do you change your fan speed? What about your heated, cooled seats? Things that you're going to want to know. Now, a lot of times, like Toyota still likes to put these here, but I know on the RAV4, you're going to have them on the bottom of the screen, the 26 RAV4 will. There's a lot of vehicles that are out there that only do it with the screen. So all your climate control is right here. So if you're trying to go in there and you're going, oh, well, the heat's on and it's 90 degrees and you're driving down the road, you're going to be really trying to focus on your screen to get your heat down. Do it before you leave. Set the temperature to what you think you need to be. Know how to get into it. Know how to change it. Know if you can voice change it. A lot of Toyotas, you can actually say, hey, set the passenger temperature to 72. You can change temperatures that way. Hey, set fan speed to high. Mute the audio. If you can voice recognition that stuff, know that. Hopefully your salesperson can give you a little bit of those answers. I know nowadays a lot of salespeople just really aren't that good, so maybe not, but hopefully they can give you a little bit of a heads up with some of those controls. If not, if you're at our dealership, hopefully you worked with me. If you didn't, I'll still be able to go out there and show you your car. I'm still going to take care of you. It's kind of what I do. I'm never going to tell somebody no if they're here and I'm trying to take care of, trying to take care of them, even if you bought a car from somebody else, but don't do that. Ask for me. So something else that you want to do is set up your phone, your navigation, your Bluetooth, your Apple CarPlay, your Android Auto. Some cars have different ways of doing that. Toyota's really not that difficult. You can do enable audio here or whatever. A lot of times when you actually get into a Toyota, you'll have a screen that's similar to this and it'll just say English, Spanish, French. pick which one, and then it'll kind of guide you through. I have a video that shows you on a Toyota step by step how to hook up everything. It's you know, decently long video. It's probably 15-20 minutes long to show you how to set up everything. If you have a salesperson that is good at what they do, then usually they can show you how to do it. If not, just make sure you ask for me and we'll do that too. The other thing to do, obviously, while you're working on your radio here, is go ahead and set up some of your radio stations, your, you know, satellite, stuff like that. At least get a couple in there that you might want to listen to. Just if that's what you want to do, or if you're going to Bluetooth connect your phone, maybe you have a playlist you like to listen to, a podcast, something like that. Make sure you set that up before you start driving. It'll help you out too, so you're not trying to play with that stuff in a car that, once again, you're not all that familiar with. Something else, make sure that you know how to open the fuel door, right? One of my best videos for viewership that I have is on the RAV4, where it's going, how do you open the fuel door? And you go, oh, well, you can't open it. And it's actually, it was down under here that, you know, that's obviously not the fuel door, but it was down under here, and you have two side by side on the RAV4, that's how you open it. This one's up here that you press on this. The Tundra is kind of similar to that. There's, but just basically, you're gonna get to a point, you might drive it for a couple weeks or a week or something like that, and you're going, crap, how do I put gas in it? And it happens more than you know, that people will call and say, hey, how do I open the fuel door on my RAV4? How do I open the fuel door on my 4Runner or my Tundra? And then there's some Tundras even that the fuel door doesn't have a button. And I've had people call because they were trying to find the button and they couldn't find the button. And I'm like, yeah, that one doesn't have a button. You just grab the door and pull it open. And they're going, oh, now I feel like an idiot. Huh, not an idiot, you just didn't know, right? So, but yeah, make sure you know where the fuel button, or where the fuel button is, or how to open the fuel door. Most Toyotas, it's on the left side, but the other thing to notice is what side is the fuel door on. And usually in most cases, if you actually look on, and I can show you on this one, if you look down beside where it shows you the fuel right there, you'll see a little arrow. That little tiny little arrow that's on there will point one way or the other. It'll tell you what side your fuel door is on. It's a little hack that you got there. So but I can show you that too. Something else, you're getting ready to leave, make sure that you have a tag installed on the back of your vehicle. Now it might be something where you transferred your tag, it might be something where you have a temporary tag, something like that. Make sure that you know what's legal. So basically, what did they do? Did they give you a temp tag? Don't put your hard tag from your old car on your new car if they didn't transfer it over, if it doesn't transfer right away, something like that. Usually the finance managers in our dealership handle that, but just make sure that you know when you leave which tag's supposed to be on the back so that you're legal and that tag is actually installed. Something else that I want to talk about too is that if you put a car seat in the back, I've seen people before where they'll just kind of set your car seats in there. I mean, the 4Runner, it actually has really easy ways that you can get into it. A lot of Toyotas are like this, but I've seen people where they might strap them in and not actually cinch them down, just kind of put the car seat in there a little bit. Maybe you don't put that strap that goes over the top in there into the latch system. Maybe you don't do that. Go ahead and install your seat, your car seat if possible, before you leave. That way you don't think about, you know, hey, you take your kid to school the next morning and your seat's loose. So go ahead and actually fully install your car seat if you can. I know that I've had sometimes where people go, yeah, my husband installs those, my wife installs those. I'm not the one that does that. Or I'm gonna go to the fire department and I'm gonna have the fire department install it. So be it. Just make sure that you get that seat installed properly. But I like to, if I'm gonna install it, I would like to tell that customer or that person that's driving off, just go ahead and install that seat. That way you don't have to worry about whether or not you did it. So just a thought, right? So something else a lot of times that you have to double check on too is if you have a wheel lock. And you can tell because if you see something like this lug right here, and you'll have one on all four wheels, if you have wheel locks on your car, make sure you know where the key is. Now on most new cars, usually the key is actually in your packet with all of your jack tools. So wherever your jack tools are, depending on the vehicle, a lot of times they're in there. But if you have a used car especially, try to see if you can find that. Sometimes they're in the glove box, sometimes they're in the center console, sometimes they're still in the jack pack. Just find that wheel lock, because if you ever need to change the tire and you have one of those on there and you don't know where that key is, it can become a problem. So check that too. So the last thing that you might want to do is to check your old car for things that you might not have thought about, things that you don't touch every day. So something like a parking pass. I know if you work at like a hospital downtown Nashville, there's several hospitals down there. A lot of those have parking passes to where you can't even get in the gate without the parking pass. Apartment buildings, stuff like that, you might have an assigned parking spot. So you park your new car in your parking spot like you've always done, but you forgot that sticker. All of a sudden your car is getting towed because they're trying to protect you, which is why that sticker's there in the first place, right? Sometimes car wash stickers, but usually those fall apart when you take them off. So a lot of times you just got to get a new one of those. But that's something that you should do in your old car. The other thing that I would suggest to do with your old car is to actually just sweep your radio. So there's usually a factory reset that you can do on your radio. So do that, or if your salesperson will help you, have a salesperson do that in front of you. It usually takes a couple of minutes for it to completely clear, but it's going to pull off your personal information, your previous destinations, things along those lines. If you have navigation, stuff like that is going to come off of your radio, and you want it to. The other thing I'll tell you too is, and I've got a video on how to do this, is if you have the HomeLink system where you actually have like the rear view mirror where you have your garage door opener that's programmed into your car like that, go ahead and just clear that too. Right, so there's actually a way to do it. I got a video that shows you how to do it, but no matter what you're trading out, if you've got that on there, go ahead and clear that too. Don't forget your sunglasses, CDs, DVDs. If you've got those, they're not as common anymore because most cars don't do any of those anymore. Even if you have a entertainment center, it tends to be more Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, so you don't have that issue. But you definitely want to clear out all of those things, and then just do one last little once over. Check hidden compartments like your wheel well for your spare tire, if it's like hidden in the back of the, in like the trunk or something like that. Check those things. Check your glove box. Look in your book packet or anything like that for personal information. Realize that most dealerships are going to pull personal information out and they're going to shred all that. I don't trust anybody with that. I'd prefer to do that myself. So leave your books in the car, but pull your personal information out of the vehicle. So your original bill of sale is probably in there, your registration. Some people leave their titles in there. Usually if you're trading it in, the dealership wants the title anyway. But just pull those things out. Our old insurance cards, stuff like that. Just pull them out. There's no reason not to. Other than that, those are just a few things that I thought of to kind of have to do on your new vehicle, and just to get it off the lot in a safer way. And those are all my opinions, of course, but I don't think anybody would really disagree with that. But there could be some other things that I've kind of forgotten. But definitely, if you guys have the opportunity, put anything else that you might do in the comments, and then definitely check out the comments and see if there's something in there that somebody else did that I forgot. But once again, Steve Welch here, showing you some things that you should definitely check before you take off in your new or new to you vehicle. So Steve Welch here in beautiful Nashville. You guys have a great day. I'm going to talk to you soon. Bye.